Jace Valerian is like the epitome of a blue planeswalker. Somebody who's just, he's smart and he's crafty, but you don't know a lot about him. You don't really know where did he come from? How did he become who he became? And up till now, we've never known. But with Magic Origins, finally, we get to learn who Jace Valerian really is.
Alhammarret High Arbiter is Jace's mentor, the one who actually teaches him what it is to be a mind mage, how to use his telepathic abilities. Of course, we learn in the story that Alhammarret is also playing him, is using him for his abilities and hoping to mold him into a weapon and really just a way to turn a profit on this endless war. His abilities are a little bit sinister. They're appropriate to a political arbiter, but you can also see how you wouldn't really want to be this guy's student.
Meddling Mage, designed by Magic Invitational winner Chris Bakula, introduced a kind of super permission to the game. Rather than countering a spell, that card said, no, you can't even try to start casting that spell. Alhammarret is like that, except even bluer because it knows what you're thinking and it's a gigantic flyer.
First and foremost, among the cards that represent Jace's story in the set is his card, his double-faced Planeswalker card. On the front, we have Jace, Vryn's Prodigy, which represents him as a young man, dressed in his ringer garb and living on the Mage Ring, using his abilities without entirely knowing that he's using them.
Jace, Vryn's Prodigy. Almost certainly the most powerful Jace since Jace the Mind Sculptor. We did a little experiment with a 2-mana Planeswalker several years ago, and we didn't quite hit the nail on the head by making it powerful enough, but I think we really got there with this Jace.
The front side of Jace, Vryn's Prodigy, is probably the most powerful front side of any of the 5 Origins Planeswalker cards. It's a powerful looting effect. It doesn't cost any mana to do. It's probably a card that would see play just by itself. The fact that it turns into a Jace Planeswalker is the icing on top of the cake on top of another cake.
I like the idea that his draw and discard ability is related to his time with Alhammarret when he's running information and having his mind wiped regularly. I think that's I don't know if that was the idea when they designed it, but I like that idea.
One of the nice things about Jace, Vryn's Prodigy is that it will naturally flip just as the game progresses. You don't have to do any special combo tricks or build your deck around it specifically. You will get 5 cards into your graveyard just by using its ability or just by creatures dying or casting other spells.
Jace is a little bit harder to transform on his own because as soon as you cast Jace, your opponent is going to think, my god, that's Jace. I need to destroy it as quickly as possible.
Protecting Jace and getting his loyalty high didn't really lead to the game concluding, so we really wanted an ability that could close out a game. We were having these long control mirrors where maybe both players had Jace and neither could defeat the other, so we finally came to an ability where casting a spell, you mill your opponent, can actually, might not look that impressive, but when you're in sort of one of those stalled out control mirrors, it is a reliable way to end the game that your opponent can't undo by destroying a permanent because it's an emblem.
Clash of Wills depicts a pivotal moment in Jace's life. It is his confrontation with Alhammarret. When he goes to Alhammarret and confronts him about all the lies, the deceptions, the memory erasures, and they have this full-on mental duel. The result is this kind of telepathic explosion that destroys Alhammarret's mind, badly damages Jace's mind, and leads to his first actual planeswalk. And he lands on the world of Ravnica, which is well known to most Magic players, without knowing who he is, or what's going on, or where he is, or what a planeswalker is, or anything.
First, we begin with, where's Jace from? We don't know where Jace is from. So we get to go visit Vryn and see him there. We watch him experience stuff in Vryn, and then he has a spark, and then we get to see where the world he visits. So he gets to go to Ravnica. That's where his first travel was. So we get to see him on his first adventure. So we kind of we get to see where the character is, we get to see a spark, we get to see where he goes and goes to his first adventure. And that structure lined up everything, but by doing 5 of those, we had 5 very parallel structures that we could build the design around.
Because Jace's abilities are so internal, they can be kind of a challenge in art sometimes. His eyes glow, his hands glow. Sometimes you can actually see his illusions or see people falling asleep. But in terms of his main power suite has to do with seeing inside people's minds, and that can be really hard to show. I think the art of Talent of the Telepath does a really awesome job of portraying this kind of ordinary street scene on Ravnica. Jace is just a guy in a cloak walking through it, but you can see that really he's connected to all the minds around him. He just walks around knowing what's going on in all these people's minds.
Talent of the Telepath is an interesting card because you never actually know what it's going to do, because you're stealing a spell out of your opponent's deck. This is the kind of card I imagine being fun every single time in Commander, for example, because who knows what you're going to get.
Not everybody likes Jace. They see the arrogant, self-assured kid wearing the hoodie, and something about that doesn't sit well with them. But I think you've got to have sympathy for the guy. I mean, imagine being a teenager with all the awkwardness that comes with that, and actually knowing that the person behind you thinks your hair looks stupid. You'd put on a hood too.